Hello and welcome to the Writer Review. This is Eric Correct Writer, and today we're going to be looking at the 2009 movie titled The Road. Now, The Road is a post-apocalyptic drama that was directed by John Hillcoat, who also directed another movie based on a Cormac McCarthy novel titled The Proposition. And the writer is Joe Penhall. And like I said, of course, it's based on a novel by Cormac McCarthy, and it stars Viggo Mortensen, Kodi Smit-McPhee, Robert Duvall, Charlize Theron, and Guy Pearce. And the story goes a little something like this. A man and his son travel through a dystopian society where plant and animal life has been wiped out and civilization has been non-existent. The remaining survivors who had overcome this cataclysm has been reduced of their dignity and has resorted to cannibalism. The boy and his father journey to the coast while searching for supplies, hoping that they would find a place for reassurance. The father's weapon of choice is a revolver, but it only has 2 cartridges. In a series of flashbacks, it's been revealed that the boy was born after the unknown disaster, and we see the morale progressively going down for the mother. They used 3 bullets, in case they have no choice but to resort to suicide, although the father simply does not think that suicide is the solution to the problem. So eventually an intruder comes into their house, and he kills the intruder, leaving only 2 bullets. Feeling angered by the whole situation, the mother walks out, barely clothed, as she decides to kill herself by hypothermia. The father shoots a gang member in an act of self-defense, leaving only 1 bullet left. So the father and son eventually spot a mansion where prisoners are being held hostage, waiting to be eaten by cannibals. So in an act of defense, the father attempts to shoot the boy, but because through a distraction, the father and son eventually get away from being held prisoner. Nearby, they spot a bomb shelter where food and supplies have been stored, so they eat, bathe, groom themselves, and feeling a little bit more relieved. But soon after depart, as soon as they hear noises in the background. Along the way, they eventually befriend a blind old man played by Robert Duvall, and they offer him some food and spend a little time together. So the duo eventually travels, and they see an abandoned ship, a beached ship, so to speak. So the father goes inside looking for supplies, and the son stays behind with whatever belongings they have. However, a thief comes by and steals their belongings, so a chase ensues. The man eventually threatens the thief, and the thief eventually gives back their belongings as well as his clothes. But a change of heart, the father eventually gives him back his clothes as well as some canned food. They eventually pass through what appears to be a ghost town, and an archer eventually slings an arrow that pierces his leg. With the help of a flare gun, he kills the archer, and his companion mourns him. Weakened by the blow, as well as being struck by a viral disease, the duo abandons their cart and their possessions. Knowing that he's dying, the father tells his son, to stay strong, stay preserved, and keep the same level of humanity. Just don't change. Just be who you are. So sadly, the father dies, and his son sees this nuclear family, and they give him the choice to either stay with the father or join him, his wife, 2 children, and their dog to live with them. The child agrees and decides to go with this family. My comments about this movie, well, in 2009, about 5 years ago, I actually had the pleasure to see 2 disaster movies with very similar themes, similar plot, and it's The Road, this one that I'm discussing, and The Book of Eli, which starred Denzel Washington and Mila Kunis. What I liked was that, both movies show how life is just simply not worth living for in a dystopian society, and that civilization is dead and everything just does not seem to be in place like it used to be. Only the fittest survive. And it demonstrates, and both movies demonstrate it both symbolically. And we also kind of hope that a tragic event like this never happens in our lifetime. I prefer actually The Book of Eli better because it kind of more like has the feeling of a graphic novel coming to life, with a similar story of a nomadic guy going out west to transport a book through a dark and grim atmosphere. And of course both characters in The Book of Eli and The Road face the same kind of dangers and similar characters where, there's no civility and everything has been just rock bottom. And of course both protagonists in The Road and The Book of Eli are out to fulfill their quests to find civility wherever that is. The only big difference is that while in The Book of Eli we know that a nuclear war and extreme sunlight caused animal and plantation life to die, in The Road we never really know what happened, what caused this disaster to strike, but I'm kind of leaning towards a giant asteroid must have fallen to this earth, and sort of like the dinosaurs that blocked out the sun, causing extreme cold temperatures and lots of precipitation to go with it. The cinematography just is virtually picturesque in both The Book of Eli and The Road, and I think the cinematography really tells the story quite subliminally. There's a lot of great talented performers here, and they all play their roles quite well, even the lesser ones. I'm a little disappointed that some big stars like Robert Duvall, Charlize Theron, and Guy Pearce have only cameo-like appearances, but they are very much in sync to the story, giving a somewhat cynical approach to life if we eventually carry on the way we do, but also it shows that, even though sometimes our planet is at times not worth living for, we still manage to maintain our optimism, and we just don't want to leave. And I think that's what both this movie and The Book of Eli kind of demonstrate. The Road, the violence is a little more watered down than The Book of Eli. Not too much, but still a little more watered down. But what makes The Road a little better than The Book of Eli is that it has strong moral messages about no matter what obstacles get in our way, big or small, in this case it's gigantic, we must stay strong, stay fit, and just stay optimistic. But both films, they were true to their merits, and they each do a good job at looking at a not-so-bright future with still hope that some optimism materializes. If I was to give the movie The Road a scale out of 10, I would probably give it a 10 out of 10. This is definitely a movie that I would love to see. and I thought that there is a lot of Oscar-worthy performances here, particularly Viggo Mortensen, and I think maybe even Robert Duvall should deserve maybe a Best Supporting Actor performance here as well. It's just unfortunately that the Oscars, they didn't get nominated. But I think the BAFTA in Britain actually has a few Oscar nominations. I don't remember who. I don't really follow the BAFTA, but I think there was some awards won at that ceremony. So I think I will end here. Remember, I like to read your comments. Feel free to drop by anytime to listen to my video, and remember, be polite, be courteous, and I don't mind constructive criticism as long as you're not rude about it. And I think we will end it there. So until next time, this is Eric Writer signing off.